Today's next job, being that I've just sorted out the grips on the Hayabusa and put bar ends on, is to sort out the heated grips on the V-Strom. It came with the OEM Suzuki ones, which are crap. They only seem to warm the front half of the grip, and I do mean warm, not hot, so it's got to come out. I did strip this down to do it the other day, finding that the OEM ones seem to be wired direct into the bike, and having done a bit of research, apparently there's a plug in here that the OEM grips plug straight into, so I'm going to have a look, see if I can find that, and then put my new Oxford ones directly into it. Hopefully, that's the plan anyway. So I'll have a brief look, and then we'll probably have to get some of this plastic off. Okay, so I can't see it, so I'm going to strip off some plastic. So screw out, and then this pulls back. You see the clip there, goes forwards into its holder. Let's get that out of the way. And then there's some of these push clips that have got to be undone, and you just push and then lift them out. We've got a screw there. I think there's one down here, there's one in there. So, screw there. I'll just throw all that on the floor because that's the safest way to do it. Right, then pull your wiring clip out. Made that sound easy. There you go, pull your electrics clip away, so it's away from the bike. Then there's another push-in clip here. It comes out there, and then should we be releasing, possibly want this off first. Who would know? Undo this side. One on the back there. Oh, that's bigger. So we've got a push out here. Push out here, that, and I think this should come off now. Yeah, so there's a couple of push-in tabs here, this white thing here and that one over there, which locate in these holes here and here, which then gets this bit of framework out of the way. And I think instead of losing this one, I'll stick that back in there so I know where it is. Stick that up there. Run out of room. So now we've got another one under here, oh, which is loose. That'll possibly be the rattle I've had. So that's one thing sorted already. And then that just pings off. It pushes forwards off of this bracketry here. And again, I think I'll put that one back in the hole so I know where it goes. This has got a rubber on it, so try not to lose that, or else you'll end up with this bracket here, which is only plastic. It's got a rubber on the end of it, but don't lose it, because that'll give you a nice little rattle. I think it's going to be a tank off job. Realistically. This just comes away. Let's get a light on there. It goes down into this wiring bit here. Perhaps that is the plug. It's not in that loom there, so it's either this here wondering about tilting the radiator forward, because if we take the tank off we've still got the frame there. Let's take this bracket out of the way, that will give me a little bit more. Yeah, let's not do it one-handed. Again, I'll put the screws back in so I know what goes where. They're a bit tight because they've had nut locker on them by the looks of it. Right, that gives me a little bit more access. Access. Could do with some wire cutters, little cut. There you go, now it's learnt. Oh. Right, there's a big dump of something in there. Let's get some light on the subject. Right. It is a bit chewed. That's definitely the cables for the heated grips and controller. So I think we're on the right path. We meaning me. Well, there's a white plug, which is what it showed on the internet. You got 3 leads going to it. Right, I went a little bit further with it. I couldn't quite figure out where these wires were going from just being here, so I've taken the tank off, which is, it's a little bit of a ball ache actually, because you've got to take all the plastics off that surround it and then undo the bolt that goes through the front of the tank, lift that up, and whoever done it before me had cross-threaded it, bent it and cross-threaded it. So the only way I could get that off was to snap it. Then you have to take the front frame off of there, so you've got room to lift the airbox out. And lifting the airbox out, I found that this rubber here had been done up, but not actually on the intake for the throttle body. So that was just sitting loose on there and bouncing. So that's another good bit of mechanics. Apart from that, everything was tickety-boo. Yeah, so there's all manner of plugs and everything that you got to take off, but what it did was allowed me room to get into this area where all the electrical plugs are and find this one, which is just 2 wires. I think it's a black and white go at the back of it, and a white with a green line. So black and white is your earth, and the white with the green stripe on it is your power. So that allows me to cut this plug off of here, join up the Oxford heated grips to this. Now I know the Oxford heated grips have an automatic shut off. If they sense there's a low power supply, they will shut off. So if you stop for petrol and that, they will keep going for X amount of time. Turn that fucking thing down. Yeah, they will keep running for a time and then they automatically turn off. I think it's like they don't sense any extra power coming through or a charge coming through or whatever, but they automatically turn themselves off, which is a handy feature. So when you are fueling up and stuff, it keeps your grips warm while you go off to pay and stuff. But I'm not bothered about that. This one, the power supply for this turns on and off via the ignition, which is good enough for me. But it does mean I haven't got to run extra wires all the way back to the battery and have extra wires connected to the battery and all that malarkey. So as I say, I will just be joining off of that rectangular 2-port plug, and then my wiring is pretty much going to be what I've got here already for these grips. So there you go. It turned into a lot more effort but hopefully it'll end up a tidier job, and as I say, it'll all turn off with the ignition and I've got to run wires and have extra wires linked into the battery and stuff. So I'm going to cut the plug and solder in the Oxford heated grips and then probably start putting all this back together actually. Yeah, once I've soldered it onto there, I can plug that back in and I can cover everything. I'm just going to check just how bad the air filter is in there. It doesn't look too bad actually. If it is bad, I'll leave the airbox free. He says, where's the other spark plug? It's got to be that side, isn't it? There. It's not a terrible thing to get to, is it? Just there. So yeah, if the air filter's particularly shit, then what I'll do is do a top end service, because when I bought the bike they did oil and filter. So yeah, I'll check the filter, the air filter. But yeah, first solder in the Oxford heated grip wires and plug it all back in, so then I can cover all this up and get on with stripping all the handlebars down. Yay! Okay, so I've got it on 75%. It's flashing because obviously the bike's not running, so it's saying there's no power feed. Grips are getting warm. Yeah, I've got some heat. Not a lot, but there's a heat. And as I say, I've and I have soldered the Oxford grips onto the V-Strom plug. My only concern was the power lead for the Oxford grips was a lot larger than the power coming out of the plug, and the Oxford ones come with an inline fuse, but then the bike will have a fuse on that, won't it? is that the way to play it? Oh yeah, definitely getting warm now. Yeah, so that wants to turn off. But yes, all working, and it should turn off with the ignition. There you go. Right, so that's all working. So I can route that in properly from underneath with all this lot, and then I can start rebuilding inside and then turn my attention to ripping all these old grips and everything off and doing the outside. Right, first one fitted, slid on nicely, came off nicely. The old one, still got a cable tie all the cables. Just doing the throttle side, just cleaning off some of the old glue. Whoever took the old one off tried to kill the throttle tube, but it's all good. Yeah, to show you, as I say, the Oxford heated grips, there's a heating element right the way round it. Right, just to show you the difference on the Oxford heated grips. Oh, that's set solid already, lovely. And the writing's upside down. I wanted the cable on top, who cares? Yeah, on the Oxford heated grips, you have heating element right the way round, so it does your palm and your fingers. Whereas these, I believe, are the Suzuki OEM ones. I don't know how much these are cost. I've ripped this one in half just to show you, and there you go. That's what goes round. This is the throttle side, and that's what goes around your handlebar. And as you can see, it's just heated at the front, so it is just the very front of your fingers that's getting any heat. Now I don't know how much this system costs, especially if you was to get it off of Suzuki and get them to fit it, but for just a heating element at the front, I think it'll, yeah, be a waste of money, to be honest. I've always had Oxford grips. These are the first OEM ones I've ever tried, and they're diabolical. As I say, they get lukewarm. Now whether they are, the elements are worn and they're not working properly or whatever, I don't know. I didn't actually test them or anything prior to taking them off, but it took a long time to warm up, and as I say, it was just the front section, whereas the Oxford ones, it's the whole grip that heats up, so your palm and your fingers are kept warm. And as you can see, this just the front, and that really is just that section of fingers, your front fingers, front underside of your fingers, and as I say, they only got lukewarm, and that's why I've gone through all this performance of fitting Oxford grips, because I've never had any problem with them. If anything, they get too hot, which isn't a bad thing. So this side, as I say, just clean off the glue there, and I'll do the same this side. I'll put it on over the top. Which does mean the writing's upside down. That'd be ideal. And then it'll just marry up with this and then tuck away and go down the wire in there. So I'll get this glued and put on, and then I'll cable tie it all and see how it looks. So cleaned off the throttle tube with a bit of Scotch-Brite just to get the old glue on that off. I did take the shoulder off, that's allowed the grip to go back even further. Just about put the bar end in. We've just got the extra washer there to give you some distance between the throttle so it doesn't bind up. And there you go, all in. There's the handguard back in, clip back in, so it just needs doing up, and then plugging in. Just going to run it down with the existing cables, down and through, with the existing cables down and through, and then join up with the plug down there, and then test it out. So this is the finished version. I forgot to finish it in the shed, finish the video in the shed. Been out for a bit of a test ride. They get really hot. Yeah, happy with them. All fitted, all cable tied in. All the bits back on. Airbox fitted properly. That wasn't fitted properly when I took it off. So that's all fitted properly. Doubt if it make any difference, but it's on all right. But yeah, all the cables tidied away nicely, and they're red hot. And they certainly look better than the other ones, even though the writing's upside down. Anyway, that's enough.